Roy Shivers is one of the most explosive running backs in Utah State history. He is the only Aggie to run, throw, and return a kick for a touchdown in the same game. As a junior, he was fourth in the nation in rushing and scoring. He played 7 years for the St. Louis Cardinals, coached in the Canadian League, and later became the first black general manager in professional football.
Well, I played high school ball in Oakland, California, and I played JC ball in Oakland. I played with Clark Miller. We were on the same team, Clark Miller and myself and Wendell Hayes. I quit school and went into service. After I got into service, I was being recruited by Utah State then, but I elected to go into the military. They had a division football team, and we played, and I played with some of the guys that had later, Andy Russell and those guys who had come back to the NFL. And I was being recruited before I went into service by Utah State. And I made all Army, all everything in service and everything, and they commenced to write me again. John Ralston was the liaison at first, and then when he left, Tony took over. When I got out, I had a commanding general. He wanted me to go to the University of Kansas. I'm sitting in a movie theater. True story. I'm sitting in a movie theater. You know, the military, you know, that back then they showed the sports highlights and stuff. Showing Kansas and Wyoming, I think it was. This guy runs 99 yards and 35 inches. It was Gale Sayers. I said, I'm not going there. So when I got home, Tony called me, and he kept calling me, and so I decided to come up. Well, you know, I had a style that I don't think it was phonetic. You know, I try to equate myself with somebody like in the NFL now. I think it's, what's the kid at Houston? Foster, kind of glider. And I was the same way. I thought I was the same way. And the game had come easy to me then because I had spent the 2 years playing service football, which, like I said, was big-time football then. And I played against all the guys then that were getting drafted before Vietnam were all college graduates. They were 24, 25 years old. And they had all finished their college degrees and things like that. And so the team I played on, everybody had finished college except me. So I got the experience through this. I was 18 when I went in there. And I played with these guys from Florida A&M, Texas Southern, Oregon. We had guys from Oregon. We had guys from Alabama and schools like that. And I played and I held my own with them. And like I said, I was only 18 years old. And so when I got out, I knew I was ready to take it to another level, as they say. I think I was number 5 or 6 on the depth chart. We're at spring ball. And John Math, the defensive coach, I loved him to death. So we're practicing. I think the first time I touched the ball, I went 75 yards. We ran a toss out of the eye, something from Rudy Karinga or somebody. I think I went 70 yards. At the end of spring ball, we came back for 2 days. John told me, eased up to me one day and said, Roy, alternate. Phil was the starting tailback, Larry Bryant, and right on down the line. He said, in the morning practice, you alternate with them, but in the afternoon practice, you stay at number 1. So that changed. That was it. From that day on, I was number 1. 64, I broke a leg, I think about the 5th or 6th game. I was having a great year. And when I broke the leg, I had run 70 yards, I think. We were playing Wichita State, and it was horse collar. That's what it was, and it broke in my leg. And I think I had rushed for something like 130 yards on about 4 carries that game. So I missed the next 5 games, but all during that time, I ran sprints on my crutches. Doc Worley and everybody, they thought I was nuts, but I wanted to get back in and I wanted to play. We were 5-1, I think, when I got hurt. I don't think we won another game while I was out. So we went to play University of Utah the last game, and Tony didn't start me. And one of the best things that happened to me while I was here at Utah State, he put me in, I think, the end of the first quarter. Got a standing ovation and we were playing in Salt Lake. Got a standing ovation, and I think I gained 100 yards, and we got back in the game, and Utah had the great team with Roy Jefferson and those guys, and we got back in the game, but I think they beat us by 1 point or something like that. But that was an experience I'll never forget. It was a great feeling. I got a standing ovation from the whole stadium, you know. I want to pay homage to, like I stated prior, to the guys that went before me. You know, Overton Curtis was a physical education teacher in Vegas. I met him and talked to him. Lou Jones was the head of athletics in Oakland, and I knew him and I talked to them. These guys opened the door for us. Tyler Wilburn, Harold Pierce, you know, they were all from the Oakland and the Bay Area, East Bay. And like Jim said, that the whole staff was from the East Bay. You know, John, Tony, George Porter, John Math, and those guys, they were all from the Bay Area. So that was the big reason, as I stated prior, that one of the reasons I came here, because everybody was from the East Bay. You know, we went back to play San Jose one year. I think we had 56 people on the team, and I think 50 of them were from California or something like that. But I really respect what those guys did during the time they were here, because it was tough for us in the 60s when we came here. And the best thing that happened to me, I met my wife here. You know, I married the girl that I fell in love here.